Hey guys, just the Peak Blue Wreath. We are back to add the ribbon into this wreath. We created this bow on one of our other videos. I'm just adding it in now. I have that long portion of the pine tie, and I'm just adding it into our wreath. I already twisted around a couple of the pine, they're not sprigs, but the pine branches to make a hanger. And then I took an extra pine sprig stem and twisted it around that same area so it'll be nice and secure, and there's no question that those are going to come untied or anything like that. So I'm just adding in our bow right now because we might as well, while we're thinking about it, add it in, and then we'll just fluff it if we need to at the end. So I'm just getting my tails going the right way. We're going to be adding in a pine cone right there in the middle so that you can't see that portion right here. We don't want that part to be exposed. So here we are. I think I'm going to move this one piece of mesh over just a smidge. Yes, that's a technical term. Just kidding. It's not. But I'm just going to move it just a little bit. It's not as exact when you make these wreaths on these pine bases. Again, this is a 24-inch pine base from Hobby Lobby. It does have 2 rings on it, which is really nice. And yeah, it allows you to use those pine branches instead of adding pipe cleaners on. So we're going to be adding in these ribbons here. These are cut to 1.5 inches. We have a burlap with little golden sheen, a red, a green, and then a chocolate brown. Uh-oh, I'm missing my chocolate brown in that one. Oh, I wonder where it went. All right, we'll just add one from here. All right, let me see, what do we got? We're supposed to be having red. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, red, red chocolate, green. Okay, there we go. Let's just add that over there. All right, so there we go. So we're gonna be adding in our cardinal ribbon, and we're also gonna be adding in one of these 1.5 inch ribbons in every single tie. We have 12 ties on the outside and 6 on the inside, just like we do with our other 14-inch wreath bases that we use with the pipe cleaner. So we're just giving it a little bit of a fold so that it's facing out, and then we don't need to untie any of the greenery. There's enough left in there. Give it a couple ties, and then you can either leave it facing up, which I actually like the way that looks. It just gives another extra piece, an extra focal point. We are going to be adding greenery back in, so we might as well leave that greenery showing. So I think that's a good look. All right, so there we go. And then we're just going to turn it and add in. I was gonna put my 1.5 inch on top. I changed my mind. I want that cardinal theme to be present, and we'll put that 1.5 inch behind it. Switching it up. See, even if you plan, you can still change it up. Nothing's set in stone, nothing's glued in yet. I do have my glue pot on. We are gonna be adding in our embellishments in the next video, which I'm gonna be taping right after this one. So I shouldn't say the word taping anymore. That's kind of aging me, right? That you would actually record something on a tape. That's the way the world was for a little bit. So I'm just twisting in the ribbon. I know that it's kind of a hard angle here with this wreath being so large, but as I turn it, you'll be able to see how pretty that looks. This wreath is measuring already over 24 inches, and it doesn't even have embellishments or ribbon on it yet. So this is going to be a very nice large wreath. It'll probably measure about 25 or 26 inches across. My cutting mat has some dried hot glue on it, and it is catching every time I go to turn my wreath. It is catching on the frame underneath it and snagging and trying to take my whole cutting board every time I turn this. So it's a little bit of a stinker. I'll have to go through and cut that. But here we go. We're just doing the same thing all the way around. If you did miss any of the steps leading up to this one, I do have a tutorial on the planning of this wreath, the bow making, adding the mesh, and now adding in our ribbons. So go check that out if you missed anything. I know I've had a few people say that they follow all the steps and, you know, make a wreath of their own, which is very sweet and very nice. And the whole point of making these tutorials and steps like that is so that, A, you don't have to sit through over an hour of wreath making to get to, you know, maybe the piece that you need most practice on. And two, I mean, we're all busy. We don't have time to really, most people don't have time to just sit and watch an entire wreath be made at one time. So I understand that. I'm a mom. I do watch some wreath tutorials, but I know that sitting and watching an entire wreath can be a little bit daunting, even though most of the prep work would have been done off screen, which is a large portion of the wreath making process is the prep work, like any other project you do. We're just going through, we're putting 2 pieces of ribbon in each tie. They're both cut to, well, the solid one is cut to 13 inches because I wanted to make sure that was seen behind the cardinal ribbon. The cardinal ribbon is cut to 12. Normally I cut my ribbons to 13 inches, but because this wreath base is so large, you know, we're already starting off at 24 inches across. I didn't think that it was necessary to add in 13 inches of cardinal ribbon. Also because I want to try to keep my wreaths in a very similar price range to last year, even though I know that the price of everything is going up. So to kind of compensate for using a pine base instead of using a wire wreath base is maybe to, you know, use a little bit less ribbon if I can, and, you know, kind of not make it an obvious change, but make differences or make any like little price cuts where you can. So not to say that the quality of the work will be any less, because you know it won't be. That's not how I do things here at Peekaboo Wreath. It's all in the details. I value my customers' money and your decision to shop with me. So every piece that I make is my best. So there you go. But yeah, this design I've made for a couple years now. This will be my 3rd year using this ribbon, this cardinal ribbon, this design. They've been bringing it back every year at Hobby Lobby. I don't know if I haven't looked to see if they did this year again or not, but this design is always really popular. Cardinals hold a special place in many people's hearts, and the holidays can be a nostalgic and memorable and sometimes sad time for some people. So I know cardinals can be a source of comfort, and so I wanted to make sure that I could provide this wreath again this year. It is a little bit different than the ones in the past. This is on a pine base, which I've never done before for this design, but since I will be incorporating evergreens pieces, firs and pines, I thought that this would really just bring another texture in, and you actually have to add like a little bit less of those sprigs because there will be some pine showing through. So yeah, that was a plan. One thing to keep in mind when you're using these pine bases is that they can be a little scratchy on your fingers. So I would suggest not having dry skin if possible. I know that I put lotion on before, not like so much lotion, but I know that if my hands are not dry, then they have less likelihood to scratch. So I've been trying to do that. It's just a little tip. Just tucking in the mesh there. Got a few little pieces. All right, so we have our ribbon here, and then we should have 1, 2, 3, 4 exposed pieces that we're gonna add in our ribbon. So like I said before, we're gonna be using this really pretty holly berry garland ribbon on top for this wreath. The reason that we do that instead of using the cardinal ribbon all the way around is because I've learned that if you use 12 pieces cut at 12 inches and then one 36-inch piece right here in the bow, you can make 2 wreaths out of each roll of ribbon. And when you're trying to recreate a design, and like Hobby Lobby, a lot of times you can't buy things off of their website. Some things you can, but ribbon a lot of times you can't, just because the inventory is moving so quickly. I've noticed that it doesn't allow you to. So I was having to go to Hobby Lobby in person and track down that Cardinal ribbon, and I was having a hard time because the closer you get to Christmas, the smaller options you have in a lot of things, because things are getting sold out. So I've learned that, yeah, if you want to make 2 cardinal wreaths and you want to make it so that the cardinal ribbon is all the way around the bottom and also in the bow, that is how you need to do it. Cut them at 12 inches and then have a 36-inch piece, and it looks beautiful, and you got your theme all mapped out for you. So here we go. This is our last set of ribbons in this wreath, and then we just need to add in our embellishments. We're going to be cutting some pine, 2 different kinds of pine with pine cones, and also some rustic jingle bells and holly berries. So we got some things coming in, some things coming down the pipeline, as they say. I've heard that before. Anyways, but yes, so here we go. Just spreading those ribbons out so that everything can be nice and seen. And next time we see you guys, we will be adding in our embellishments. So thanks so much for hanging out. Catch the replays or the videos on the other ones if you missed out on any steps. And we will see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.